Hey everybody, welcome back to Starfyre Gaming. I am Sir Joseph and this is Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. We just got Argenta back from her pilgrimage where she got some sweet power armor. I'm going to show this power armor to you because I think it's pretty sweet myself. Right there, it's 80% armor with 7 deflection built in. That is amazing. Plus it gives you plus 15 strength. And after using Heroic Act, the wearer immediately uses War Hymn or Ferocious Recital, which is also awesome. Now, I don't know if anybody else could wear it. I would doubt it because that looks like sister power armor to the max. But she got it from her pilgrimage, so it would be sacrilege to give it to anybody else. All right, so we have to head and do Pasqual's mission on the way to checking out the this is where we need to go before going here and talking to the Inquisitor. That's what I wanted to say. All right, so we are going to take the safe travels. Now, some of you might look over here and say, hey, there's a quest on one of our worlds, and there is a quest here. I went there and couldn't find it. I walked all over that place, couldn't find anything, and I figured you guys watching me walk around and not find anything or do anything would have been boring, so I didn't show it. Those new things? Let's take a look. They're probably not new things, but it says there's a gutted void ship here, but I don't see a gutted void ship. When the Rogue Trader's ship approaches the Adeptus Mechanicus Void Station, it is met with hostile security and station's defense lasers. An explorator, Lex Mechanic, who introduced himself as Service Unit 4... Okay, yeah, so we've done this already. Let's go ahead and give him some gear. And they gave us ranged guns. Alright. I don't see a plundered void ship here, but we had already been there, so my bad. Oh, space combat! Space combat! Time to shoot some enemy ships. There's no space combat in here. Alright, that one wasn't my fault. It said space combat. See right there, space combat awaits in this system. It lied. There was no space combat awaiting. We need to go to this spot here. Wonder if we can punch through this through this now. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll give it a shot. I have the magnetic storm thing. I've read prayers. In spite of the thick haze of static covering something. We can actually. All right, cool. The Augur crew have detected signs of life under the planet's surface. There, in the caves, is a man-made complex. According to the ship's archives, this world is uninhabitable and devoid of useful resources, so the presence of someone's base seems intriguing. Well, let's send a team to explore. The enforcers disembarked next to a suspicious cave. The entrance to the cave turned out to be blocked by a massive plasteel door. Once pierced by a melta charge, then shoddily patched up. Within, an ambush awaited your team. Attackers with emaciated bodies pounced from the darkness without warning. The enforcers of the Von Valentius dynasty reacted with lightning speed. They walked away from the victorious battle, not only victorious. Okay, that just sounds weird. But having captured the enemy commander. While a shuttle brought the prisoner aboard the Lord Captain's void ship, scouts searched the base and found a vast hall, the walls of which were dotted with cryo vaults. All but one were disabled and contained the remains of some prominent people, judging by their clothes. The last cryo vault was opened and stood empty. Mechanicus creators, alright? In addition, the curious machine was destroyed during the battle. A curious machine was destroyed during the battle. As further inspection would show, this was the very contraption responsible for creating the magnetic storm blanketing the planet, concealing the cemetery from prying eyes. Its machine spirit extinguished forever. Tech priests still managed to extract some of those parts that held value. Alright. So we can do coercion on here, interrogate, or then examine the... Well, let's interrogate the prisoner first. Oh, we can't do that now? Under torture, the bastard confessed to belonging to the cult of Saint Drusus. He and his brothers and sisters were tasked with guarding this strange cemetery and preventing anyone from entering. He equally could not hide that the unfortunate inhabitants of the cryo vaults were killed by his people. Alas, that was his last confession as the harsh interrogation finally took its toll. Well, that's too bad. We didn't get to examine the machine. I thought we could have done both. Oh well. Alright, well. That's done. Now we can go work on Pasqual's quest. Wow, we got a couple flotillas here, and we've got the main ship. Let's go to the main ship. Your lordship, according to the ship's registry, we're looking at the Arc Mechanicus Hermetico. We picked up a Vox signal coming from her. Permission granted. May the Messiah of the Discontinuing reveal the way to a safe docking gate. We failed a perception test. Requesting the right to participate in the first boarding party. Evaluating shuttle docking options. Is there a safe docking spot? Not at the moment, your lordship. The damage to the hull makes observations difficult, and the surviving vacuum locks are sealed shut. I hypothesize that the proper vacuum lock may be opened using my personal access code. Justification: a message from the Arch Mechanicus. What do we know about the ship? Each Ark is a sanctuary for the Adeptus Mechanicus. Every such ship is a relic. They are incredibly ancient and were made to search for the sacred standard temple construct patterns. Legend tells of entire forge worlds that were literally disassembled for parts to make such vessels. In any case, she is in a ruin of her former glory. We observe numerous traces of internal decompression, but not a single sign of aggression carried out from the outside. For what it's worth, some of the decks look intact, at least from the outside. We are also picking up strange radiation emanating from the hull. We believe the ship has been in the possession of the damned for a long time. Assemble boarding crew. It will be done, your lordship. No Idira. Yes, Argenta. That would have sucked if I didn't make that change and went in there with an underpowered Idira, not Argenta, who's a beast. Getting even more beastlier. Alright. Not a very big map, but that doesn't mean there's not additional subparts to the map. Well, Tech Tribeswoman has moved, but these guys don't even light up. I wonder what's up. Wonder if that's a glitch or if the cogitator screen glows faintly. You take a closer look and realize it has been gutted. Its innards replaced with candles that cast glints on the black plexiglass. It looks like they all just are frozen except for these tribeswomen. I'm guessing they're like actually locked up frozen, not game locked up frozen. Tribeswoman avoids your gaze, makes a strange gesture, probably some kind of ritual as you approach. How dare you set up camp right in the heart of the sacred machine? This is a sacred sacrilege against the blessed remains. Oh, okay. That's...
Follow my lead.
This noble warrior's armor and augmentics are undamaged, and yet they are dead. What killed them? So we go this way. Let's go this way. The bay was breached from the inside. Traces of scaling suggest the use of melt-a-weapon.
Victory awaits!
This is odd. I see scratch marks from the servo claw on this venerable Scutarius armor. I recognize the pattern of the chant. They are imitating a reactor shutdown vigil. Something simply ordered the spirit of this machine to die. The handprint and footprint indicate that the locals have turned the sacred Ungent tank into something like a ritual font.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Okay. Alright, nothing to see over here. I'm registering residual traces of paper combustion inside this cogitator's casing. Did they fuel the repository of knowledge with books? The majestic metal statue is frozen in a menacing, combative pose. The ancient warrior's flesh was once enhanced with priceless augmetics, but they are dormant now. There's the chief. What kind of paranoia drove the crew to place the cannon platform here in the very heart of the ship? Talk to the chief. The lean hunchback man studies you with his piercing gaze. One of his eyes looks you up and down. The other has been replaced by a bulky augmetic, ancient and adorned with gold, but is deactivated for some reason. He states in a dry voice, "The ghosts of nothingness have entered the deck of the Akagin tribe." I greet your tribe. We come in peace. The man shrugs indifferently. His voice is tinged with sympathy. It does not matter. You are ghosts. Take a closer look at the man. The middle-aged man carries a potentia coil on his shoulder, after the manner of tech priests. It is held in place by straps and is not connected to anything. Its weight has given him a hunched back. One of his arms has been replaced by an exquisite tech-scribed augment, but the quills and styli are incredibly dull, as though they have been scraped against bare rock, and the limb's servo motors are dormant. The sight of the mangled augmetic elicits a pained grimace from Pasqual. I am registering evidence of precious true flesh being operated in unacceptable conditions. The blessing indicates that this sacred metal was fashioned many centuries ago on blessed Mars. Putting it to such crude and careless use is an insult to the Omnici. Who are you? The undertakers of the world that expired in the great discontinuing of the cycle. The mourners holding an eternal requiem for the universe. Fascinated by the answer, Pasqual says quietly, "Let the cycle be discontinued." A wan, condescending smile graces the man's lips. It was discontinued a long time ago. Is that why you call us ghosts? Yes, there is nothingness outside this ship. Sometimes it spits out ghosts born out of the world's ashes, and they wander in. The sight of you saddens us, for we mourn you. Alas, there is nothing we can do to help you, since you do not exist. Do you believe the world has perished? This statement is true. The world ceased to exist a very long time ago. It turned to nothingness, to ashes. All that's left are these ruins, and the last shard of the universe. Its cenotaph. Its cenotaph? What do you think destroyed the universe? The unthinkable was wrought. The cycle was discontinued. This tribesman mind is full of the most unenlightened superstition. Why does this unit seemingly know less than some primitive barbarian? Is that good or bad? Neither. It just happened, but it was a grievous event, and we grieve. I see. The man sighs and makes a sign with his hand that is vaguely reminiscent of a tech priest gesture to ward off evil. Pasqual, what do you make of these people? Hypothesis. This primitive community is made up of descendants of low-ranking technomats who once serviced this deck. The name Achgen derives from category AC Gen. AC stood for the Acolyte category, which serviced the main decks. Gen referred to the service staff who were assigned general, as opposed to specific maintenance duties. The man looks at you and Pasqual with indifference. He does not seem to have understood a single word. How do you survive here? And what do you do? We hold a vigil for all of existence, and the spirits of the mechanisms give us water, food, and nutrient mix. We thank them for that with rites of machine servicing and maintenance. So commands the great entity. I am registering multiple deviations from the catechism of maintenance and operations in the actions of these units. Hypotheses. The breaches of sacred instructions do not stem from a malicious lapse into heresy. They are a consequence of the rite having been lost to memory. A grave heresy, but not as profane. The voice from the Vox is full of sorrow and reproach. Who or what is the great entity? The supreme deity, the spirit of wisdom and revelations. It bears the name Amernat. Like Amernat? The name grabs Pasqual's attention. He says sternly, I am registering a meaningful linguistic pattern. Requesting all available information on Amernat. Amernat is a divine being of great wisdom. It was his great wisdom that discontinued the cycle, and all who had partaken of it lapsed into nothingness. We never partook of the wisdom, which is why we exist, and I have nothing to tell you about it, Ghost. That sentence doesn't make a lot of sense. You talk to us, your kinfolk do not. Oh, got it. He talks to us, nobody else will. Why? I am the Fabricator General. My shoulders bear the sacred burden of leadership. The man shifts his shoulders, bent under the potentia coil resting upon them. The others fear you, as ghosts can carry the living away into nothingness, but I am protected by Amernat's grace. Pasqual's roar is like a blaring alarm of an extractor. Fabrication General, I am registering heresy. The man listens to the tech priest's outburst without flinching. The universe must have a Fabricator General, the supreme priest of the Omnici. There is none other to hold that title. Therefore, it is mine. Have you seen anything unusual lately? The echo of an old crime was heard beneath the arching vaults of our home. The tribesman nods at you gloomily. A ghost of nothingness walked among us, of like appearance to you, but without a face. He spoke words that must not be spoken, and then penetrated the chamber of observus. and our abode was shaken by the wrath of the gods for days, and we felt as though we were drifting through nothingness. Pasqual lowers his head and says quietly, "That is him, my mentor." What did he look like? His brow bore the mark of sorrow and past misdeeds, and his voice was like seeping sand. Was he alone? No, other ghosts walked with him, but he was alone. But he alone had a mind and a will. The others did his bidding. Probably servitors? What is the chamber of Observus? An abode of deities and mighty spirits secluded from mortals. The man points towards the entrance to the lift shaft. Down this great tube, they used to descend to the mortals. Now they have all retired to the house of Observus. The calm, the keen-sighted, there to remember and mourn the world as it once was. The unit has given us a distorted description of the observatorium, the bay that housed the Hermeticos Bridge. There, under the grand dome of Plascrete, the wisest hierarchs of the Adeptus Mechanicus would spend time in reflection and strive to discern the omniscience guiding signs are in the glitter of the stars. Pasqual hesitates and then adds worriedly, "Correction, this data is a hypothesis. An archive search yielded no confirmation of this data. My possession of it is an anomalous cognitive fluctuation. I want to get in there." "Abandon this thought. Your kind cannot go in there. The great tube was made for the travelers of gods, not mortals. Only one who has the blessing of Pref, the great spirit who rules this deck, may approach the great tube. But even such ones will have tried in vain, for the great tube's spirits have sealed its gate and will only open it to those who know the divine word. And the rust wraiths ensure that humans don't steal the word. They'll make short work of any thief." "Who is the spirit Pref?" "The master of this deck, the second most important god after Amernat. Mortals cruelly betrayed his trust once, and he hasn't talked to them or protected them since. Pref only ever answers the shaman's invocations, and only occasionally at that." The tribesman's profane speculations most likely describe an important machine spirit that remains awake, requesting a conversation with the unit identified as the shaman. "Divine word? What divine word?" "Words command all of existence. The gods ruled the universe using words of power. There was a time when mortals too were granted knowledge of them, but that time died along with the world." Hypothesis. The term divine word refers to a command litany. A thorough understanding of the situation aboard Hermetico will allow me to select the correct litany and recite it to the mechanisms that are still operational. "What are rust wraiths?" Man points at one of the motionless statues. "The ancient ones, the servants of gods. They used to be the gods' great warriors. Now they guard the peace of the universal cemetery and see to it that mortals don't challenge the divine order." "The Skitari, the deck guard. These immortal servants are an elite detachment of the crew, blessed with the most ancient and wondrous augmetic enhancements. They could survive in a sleeping state for centuries even. After a brief pause, a whisper comes from his vox. Their presence here is unusual. Typically, the immortals only leave their storage chapel on special orders from the bridge." So how did the faceless ghost get in? He knew the secret. The spell was not of divine origin. Its power surpassed that of the gods. It was born in the mysterious depths of irregularity, and soon after the mortal fist uttered it, or the mortal first uttered it, the word was no more. Pasqual waves a mechadendrite at him in annoyed dismissal and says impatiently, "The blessed Amernat can command any mechanism on his ship. The indoctrinal heresy uttered by the unit is unworthy of attention." Your guesses are amazingly spot on, Pasqual. The tech priest is taken aback. He pauses to think, then says with no great confidence, "This statement is false. Each of the hypotheses was logically deducted from our present situation." I see. Good. Don't seek to enter the god's abode, Ghost. It is no place for you. I must take my leave. Farewell, Ghost. I hope nothingness summons you back into its embrace soon. Alright. So there's goods over here. Let's go grab some goods. Let's check this. The barbaric inscriptions, blasphemous, profaning the flesh of this sacred machine, echo the words of the requirement of reverent shutdown. The marking does not follow fleet protocols. This constitutes a Category 10 blasphemy.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
So is a lower category less than a higher category? So like a Category 1 is like, oh, Category 1! I feel as though I'm walking through a crime scene. Or is like, it's just a Category 1, where a Category 10 is like, that's a Category 10! Now I need to know. Well, I say I want to know. Don't need to know. The barbarians are pillaging the ship's supplies. I am registering a Category 9 blasphemy. There's a shaman. I'm registering evidence that a Volkite carbine was fired here. Now everything is clear. A battle was fought here, and during preparations for it, Amernat declared the observatorium off limits. Oh. Even to follow the servants of the Omnici, the explorators, it was an internal conflict, and he expected his erstwhile tech comrades to become his enemies. Okay. I'm registering evidence of a Volkite carbine was fired here. I'm registering a protocol violation. Use of weapons by Adeptus Mechanicus soldiers inside one of the ship's bays. Alright, so Civil War. Let's chat with the shaman.
None shall stand in my way.
The elderly tech shaman looks up at you with dim eyes. He smells strongly of exhaust fumes. Have you come to speak to the great Pref, ghosts? Pref will not speak your lesser tongue, but I can help. I can interpret. Look at the tech shaman. The aging barbarian's skin is covered in tattoos of mechanisms, as if the ink drawings of cogs could pass for the actual augmetics. Wires and scraps of flex tubing are braided into his hair, as well as shards from broken data slate screen. Cogitator circuit boards hang on threads from his large ceremonial drum. I am registering Category 6, 7, and 8 blasphemies in this tribe's investments. Only enlightened tech priests are authorized to dismantle and interact with the bodies of sacred machines. And painting the skin in a crude imitation of tech flesh is a profane mockery. Well, we're working our way down to 1. Maybe we'll find out the answer to that question. It is how I venerate the iron spirits who have done their duty and passed into nothingness, ghost. I do this in the hopes that I might gain some of their wisdom. This statement is false. I am not registering any veneration. Who is Pref? Our deck's great patron spirit who protects it and watches over everything that happens to it. Pref used to be a kind father to us until wicked people tricked him. That was when he disowned the mortals who lived here. He wiped the names of everyone who used to be under his patronage from his memory, and no longer recognized their faces. Since then, Pref has been a harsh and cruel-hearted master who is deaf to our prayers. Pref, hypothesis. The barbarian is using this debased designation to refer to a prefect enumerator, an especially sacred cogitator served by all of the deck's junior machine spirits. I am registering it a Category 6 blasphemy. The tribesman's claims to communicate with it. Only enlightened adepts of the Omnici are permitted to interact directly with a prefect enumerator. Hypothesis. The part of the legend that speaks of disowning the mortals and forgetting their faces describes the removal of access rights from authorized units. For reasons unknown, the prefect enumerator was ordered to cease accepting commands from outsiders. How do you talk to Pref? The tech shaman raises the roaring mechanical sensor and inhales a lungful of its aromatic exhaust fumes. The tribesman's eyes grow dim, and he puts his hands on his drum. His fingers strike a taut synthetic leather with remarkable deftness and rhythm. Like this. Pasqual frowns and says darkly, I am registering a category. Blast it, layman. This blessed smoke is meant for the sacred machines, not your lungs. Then the tech priest falls silent and listens carefully before uttering in astonishment. This primitive melody is a language, our language, a variety of rhythmic-based tech vernaculi in which meaning is generated by the length of pauses between the signals. We have come to plead for Pref's benevolence. Every word you say is accompanied by a series of quick drum taps in a complex, choppy rhythm. Crackling comes in response from a vox hidden somewhere within the wall. The tech shaman tilts his head and says, the great Pref would like to know who is speaking to him. The prefect enumerator is running an identification procedure. Given existing data on the machine spirit's refusal to follow orders within the chain of command, I predict that standard identifiers will be assigned a low priority. If the machine spirit speaks a tech priest language, do we even need this old man? This statement is false. The idiom is a distinctive vernacular, most likely only used by the ship's crew. It is intuitively familiar to this unit, but not intelligible. Introduce yourself formally, Pasqual. This unit is Magus Explorator Pasqual Hahnemann, a member of the Cognizant Fleet, presenting doctrinal compliance and algorithmic obedience certificates. Wow, that got hard to read all of a sudden for some reason. The indicator on Pasqual's neural cogitator glows. New data lights up Pasqual's noospheric aura that no layperson can see. The tech priest shaman translate Pasqual's words into quick taps on his drum. Its dangling circuit board jingles dramatically. He inhales the aromatic exhaust of the roaring sensor, listens carefully, and says in a strained voice, Pref asks why he should treat your words with respect and not scorn them. Pasqual's voice becomes dry and briskly. The machine spirit is requesting to know this unit's access privileges. It refuses to submit to a stranger's will without a compelling reason. Machine spirits can be capricious and undisciplined. After years without sanctified maintenance, this one may have forgotten all about obedience. Normally, in cases like these, a tech priest would bring the wayward spirit to its senses with a shock from an electric prod or a blow from a wrench, accompanied by the litany of uninterruptible obedience. I think a show of force is in order to show this machine its place. This statement is true. Pasqual extends a hand towards the machine, which is enveloped in showery sparks. The crack of the tech priest's armored respirator shines a bright green. There is steel in his voice. My power is my authorization. Acknowledge it, or you will regret it, wayward spirit. The tech shaman shouts out in fear and shakes his drum frantically. Pref acknowledges your power, Ghost. He does. He asks why you seek his friendship. A pained rattle comes from Pasqual's vox as he touches the crack in his armor, which is no longer glowing. He looks as though he has a sudden toothache, then says with effort, Hypothesis. The prefect enumerator's request is to be interpreted as, what is the purpose of your visit? Tell it you are on a mission from Amernat. Perhaps the spirit knows who he is. I am following the orders of my mentor, Archmagos Amernat, and correcting a mistake made decades ago. The tech shaman listens to the crackling coming from the hidden vox in response and shakes his head contritely. The great Pref does not recognize your name or your face. He will not grant you his friendship and bids you to leave. Pasqual's vox hisses angrily and he shakes his head. The prefect enumerator's reaction is anomalous. Such disregard for regalia can only be explained by a protocol signifying an extreme degree of danger to the vessel. Can we talk to him again? Yeah, we can't do anything. All right. Well, let's check out this entry servitor here. The ancient servitor seems dead. The infrequent twitching from his head is the only glimmer of life left in him. The numerous augmetic regalia embedded in the body of this servant of the Omnisci speak to his high standing and devoutness. Can you activate him, Pasqual? The tech priest carefully touches the servitor's withered body with his mechadendrites. Data spikes slide out of them and sink into the servitor's augmetics. Pasqual's vox sounds thoughtful and slightly puzzled. I identify this unit as Magus Logius Hecadon 11. The unit received 7 commendations for advances in astrography recorded in the Fleet Archive. This unit, he liked watching the stars. He called them beacons left for us by the Omnici. The servitor gives a jolt, raises his head, and fixes his augmetic eyes on you. The large black circles of the visors are cloudy and covered in scratches. A pained moan comes from the speaker of the servitor's throat. It's unit status operational. Unit identifies itself as no data available. Error, malfunction. The Omnici knows. What? Pasqual sighs heavily. He is suffering. This unit is long past its operational life expectancy, but the particularly ancient and sacred true flesh it was awarded for its outstanding service to the fleet is still prolonging its years. Do you know him? This statement is false. My archive has no records of any encounters with this unit or any archive requests concerning it. I just know, and I grieve. Pasqual touches the servitor's pale skin covered in inky cacography. The tribespeople inscribed his body with the blessed manual of maintenance and repair. Hypothesis: ignorant as to the true purpose of this litany, they perceived it as a health-replenishing magic spell. Tech Brother Hecadon 11. This unit identifies itself as Pasqual Hahnemann. Can you hear me? Do you know me? Can you tell me what happened here? A jumble of sounds comes from the servitor speaker, as if a very old man who has outlived his faculty of speech is trying to utter once familiar words now strange to him. Then suddenly a spark lights up on his visor and he utters with great strain. Executing function. All reserve capacities engaged in executing primary function. We would like to go up to the observatorium. Request denied. The rattle in the servitor's voice could be mistaken for indignation. Access to the lift is denied. Service in the obscuratoria mode. An obscuratoria is a complete ban on holy ministry within the compound. Any and all sacred maintenance procedures are deferred until after the ban is lifted. An obscuratoria is declared when a temple has been compromised by suspected corruption, before a battle, or in the event of a major critical incident. Hypothesis: obscuratoria was declared ahead of a battle in order to hinder the hostile infiltration of the observatorium. Knowing the reason enables this unit to deactivate the containment protocol. Pasqual, unblock the lift. Pasqual enunciates solemnly, accompanying each word with Abinherric commands. As its first pronouncement, this unit declares that no security threat to the High Observatorium is present. As its second pronouncement, this unit orders the operation of the lift system to be restored. As a third pronouncement, this unit confirms its authorization to issue that order. The servitor's jerky movements is accompanied by a shower of sparks from his mouth. His optical visor makes a series of clicks. Unit's heretical rank not recognized. Authorization to give orders unconfirmed. Awaiting confirmation. This unit is not part of the Hermeticos chain of command. It must introduce itself to the ship's systems for confirmation of its authority. Okay. Guessing that's back here with the tech shaman. Ghosts. Want to talk to Pref. Numerators running identification protocol. Introduce yourself. Continue. Continue. Senior spirits requesting no function or if you submit stranger's will. Okay, show it some force. Continue. We'll seek. All right. You know the answer yourself, Pasqual. I have come to discontinue the cycle. The tech shaman listens to the crackling coming from the hidden Vox in response and shakes his head contritely. The great Pref does not recognize your name or your face. He will not grant your friendship and bids you to leave. Alright, so evidently we've got to figure something else out around here.
Follow my lead.
Nothing new with him. Alright, can't go down there.
It's about time.
Well, and we just kind of ran over everything again. But, I mean, looking at the time, it's about time to call it. So let's go ahead and call it here. See if we can figure this out later. Let's look at this real quick. I think we already looked at this. I'm registering residual traces. Yep, okay. All right. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. As always, like, subscribe, and comment. I've been Sir Joseph. You guys are amazing. Until next time, stay safe out there. And I'll talk to you later.